The soft hush of night filled the chamber, and King Shahriyar's gaze remained fixed on Scheherazade. Her voice, ever soothing and full of wonder, began once more.
O King, tonight I shall tell you of three sisters whose fates were woven into the walls of a chamber, painted not with ink or brush, but with dreams and secrets, in the city of Zufar, perched high upon the cliffs above the sea. There lived a wealthy merchant named Harun al-Mazari. He was known far and wide for his caravans of silks, spices, and glassworks, but more than his riches, he cherished his three daughters, Hind, Samira, and Rana. They were as different as morning, noon, and night. Hind, the eldest, was calm and wise, with eyes like still water. Samira, the second, was lively and curious, and loved riddles and music. Rana, the youngest, was quiet, her gaze often fixed on the sky, as though listening for voices only she could hear. When Harun's time came to pass into the next world, he left to each daughter a part of his estate, but to Rana, he left a sealed chamber at the top of their house. Its walls bore no door, only a single window. To Rana he said, "The key to this room is not in your hands, but in your dreams. When it opens, your truth shall awaken." The sisters mourned their father, but soon, as days passed, they returned to their lives. Hind managed the estates, Samira studied in the city's great library, but Rana spent her time beneath the chamber's window, waiting. Every night she dreamed of the room, of painted walls that whispered, of images shifting like sand. One evening, a great storm struck Zufar. Lightning cracked the sky, and thunder rolled across the cliffs. The storm shattered the window of the sealed room, and in the morning, Rana found the glass shards lying at her feet, yet there was still no door. That night she dreamed again. In her dream, she floated within the room, and the walls bloomed with paintings, images of three sisters walking a path that split in three. At the fork stood a tree with 3 branches, and each branch bore a symbol, a compass, a harp, and a silver crescent. When she awoke, her hand bore a faint mark, a tiny crescent, glowing and warm. Rana showed her sisters the mark, but they dismissed it as nonsense. Still, she returned to the chamber window, and each night the dreams deepened. She learned the room was not empty, it was filled with the living memories of her family, painted across time. On the 7th night after the storm, the chamber door appeared, carved silently into the wall. Rana opened it and stepped inside. The walls were painted from floor to ceiling with scenes that shimmered and moved, portraits of her father as a boy, her mother singing lullabies, the 3 sisters playing by the sea. But deeper in, the images became stranger. Rana saw herself walking through unknown cities, speaking with birds, and reaching toward a star in the shape of the crescent on her palm. At the center of the room stood 3 doorways, each painted with the symbols from her dream. She heard her father's voice, echoing gently, "Each path leads to a different truth. Choose the one that calls you, and the chamber will paint your fate." Rana placed her hand on the crescent door, and it swung open, revealing a staircase spiraling downward into golden light. Without fear, she descended. At the end, she emerged into a garden beneath a twilight sky. where time no longer moved. There she found an ancient woman seated by a pool. The woman smiled and said, "You have found your path, child of dreams. Few listen, fewer follow. But you, who see the unseen, are the keeper of memory." The woman vanished, and in her place appeared a brush. Rana understood. She returned to the chamber and began to paint not with colors, but with thought, with love, with longing. The chamber became alive, a sacred space where the past and future whispered. Hind and Salmira, hearing of the miracle, came to see for themselves. They, too, saw visions in the walls. Each sister touched a door, and each chose a path. Hind followed the compass, becoming a wise traveler and judge. Salmira followed the harp, and her songs healed the hearts of kings. But Rana remained, tending the chamber, recording the forgotten stories of her ancestors, drawing futures for generations not yet born. And so, O king, the lesson is this: in every family, there are those who lead, those who speak, and those who remember. And sometimes, the quietest among us are the ones who paint the stories that hold us all together.
When Scheherazade heard the rooster crow, she decided to stop telling stories. Shahryar smiled and realized that Scheherazade would not tell any more. Of course, he had a new date the next night to continue enjoying the stories of his beautiful wife, Scheherazade. Shahryar exhaled slowly, lost in the glow of Scheherazade's words.